gold players tend not to be that good at the game.
How do I keep getting tagged?
Gecko, stop following me! Wait, why are you following me?
I don't know what's happening!
Gecko, you can't, Gecko, everyone just shush. Gecko, you can't follow me around like that. You're literally just stomping.
What are you doing, Gecko? Gecko, what are you doing?
I don't know what's happening!
Oh my god, I'm hiding in a corner.
There's too much
This is the
happening.
most British call ever, bro.
Whereas pros tend to be pretty good at the game.
They find two openings. Amy has to stabilize. In a good position to do so. In fairness, the paranoia misses her now. She can just shoot heads. What a flick! What an adjustment for Amy. Neuer dragging herself into this to give up the ace to Amy.
There is one thing that I think gold players can sometimes be better at than pro players in Valorant. And that is not playing for retake. Because you see, gold players will stick on that site no matter what. They have full confidence that they're going to win that 1v5 no matter what comes through that door. Whereas pro players will sometimes play for retake. But if you take a look at some of the retake win percentages. So this is from 2022, right? This is from Ominous, I think, who did these stats. And this is all the sites, you know, that were in the game at the point. But if you just take a look at the site retake percentage win rate, we're not dealing with very high numbers, right? These are not very big numbers. These are not things that you want to be doing. These are not very high in general. Let's skip ahead to 2023. This was from Willminder. And if you take a look at, these are the easiest sites to retake in the game. You can see that there is one site in the game in 2023 that had an above 50% retake win rate in 3v3s, 4v4s, and 5v5s. Every other site in the game, even the easiest ones, was still less than 50% in 3v3s, 4v4s, or 5v5s. And the average, as you can see, was only 38.4. Now, just quickly, if you're wondering, here were the hardest sites to retake in 2023. It was actually the Pearl B site was the hardest, which, when you think about it, now that Pearl is back, it does make you think, should teams just go B every single round? If the I don't know what it is for 2024 and what it is now. If someone wants to run those numbers, I would greatly appreciate if you did that, but maybe everyone should just be running B. But the point is, using these numbers, you can tell that, on average, playing for retake is not a winning idea. Enter Zipto versus MIBR here on Sunset, because a lot of Zipto, particularly at the start of this game, a lot of their defensive rounds look like this, right? Where we are playing full retake A, right? There is nothing even suggesting that anyone is going to be there on A when this site exec actually comes in. And here's the first thing that we need to talk about though, right? Which is we're going to take a look at the pistol round, because here's the first thing you need to know. Pistol rounds don't count. Pistol rounds are a different beast, and in this video I'm going to argue to you that, you know, playing for retake in general a lot of the time isn't probably the best idea, right? But pistol rounds, this round is going to show you that pistol rounds are just different, okay? They just don't live by the same rules, and that's for a couple of reasons, right? Number one is the guns. Right, the guns just aren't as good, right? They're not as accurate, they don't do as much damage, so that means that when you give up the sight, the crossfires that maybe your opponents will hold won't be as strong, because their guns just aren't as good, right? So that's the first thing, is that the guns aren't good. The second thing is that, generally, pistol round, there isn't as much utility, right? Not everyone is going to have a full kit of utility, so as you try to get back in onto the site, the attackers probably aren't going to have as much to respond with as they would in any other round, right? So again, that's just another reason why pistol rounds don't really count. And the third thing is that on pistol rounds, generally, grouping up and going as kind of a big clump is going to be pretty good for you. And playing for a retake on the defense side of a pistol round is probably going to allow you to just play as a big clump and run it down together, and that's pretty good on a pistol round, because you're going to have the attackers kind of spread out, you know, each one kind of watching kind of different directions. They're going to be a bit spread out, whereas you can just come as a big clump and take a 3v1, and that's going to be pretty good for you on a pistol round. So the first caveat to this is the pistol rounds don't count, as you'll see right now.
Time's on their side. Now, what util do we have? Smoke's just been invested. Tara still has the paranoia. They still had a flash with Camu, but it's Jelly already to take away Neary. So now numbers starting to look really nice for MIBR. Refocusing the fight towards that short side. The paranoia just went towards CT, but the swing looks good. Zipto now just starting to clear on out. How the hell have they isolated these fights? Sayuri is still here. One left, one to the right. Melissa seen in the smoke, and the double push. They're taking no risk.
So point number one, pistol rounds, forget it. It doesn't count. Playing for retake on pistol is a pretty good idea, actually. But in every other round, if we skip ahead to the bonus round, so now MIBR have guns, let's take a look at the setup from Zipto. It looks very similar, right? Where we've just got a Cypher Cam, a Cypher Trip, but we're playing pretty passive, right? And the thing is, we've got kind of what looks like a sort of, you know, mid-crunch maybe available to us. But you'll see here that because Aniri has an outlaw, right? So our Neon has an outlaw, you know, this kind of mid-crunch is probably not exactly gonna go, you know, how you might want it to really with a typical mid-crunch, right? Where normally you'd want your kind of Neon pushing out, you know, the utils coming and then your Neon's kind of, you know, exploiting that. Well, the Neon's got an outlaw, so, you know, not as easy, right? And you'll see that it's different, right? When you're, hey, we're playing retake A, but we're fighting heavy for this space B or in mid, right? You see that they aren't really fighting heavy for this space B. Alexi does just get that kill there. That's just from Alexi, you know, solo swinging out and getting that kill. It's not part of a mid-crunch or anything like that. That's literally just Alexi finding that kill. And the thing is, as MIBR start to figure out, hey, no one's on A, right? You start to get Melissa down here, you know, walking towards A and figuring out, like, hey, no one's there. You're actually going to see as they enter the site here, MIBR, they're eventually going to get in here. They're going to find another kill here, right? So they're going to find another kill. Okay, they managed to figure it out here, Zipto as well. And they get a kill just here, right? So now we're in a 5v3. Well, great, right? This couldn't have gone any better. But still, you'll see when the guns come out, you can get sprayed down going for this retake. You can't just go as a big clump and hope it's going to work like it did in the pistol round.
She gets caught. It was Alexi again. Second big impact kill for her, leaving just the three who are now getting a little bit uncomfortable. They could flood back on this site. Things are getting a little bit dangerous. Luckily for them, a bit of stall coming in. The Paranoia was good. Stari is now on the chopping block, but still, it's a cosmetic stun. Don't worry about it. MIBR in numbers, holding the line. A quick slide in for Aniri. And it doesn't work out. They dig in.
And as I kind of mentioned at the top of the video, at a certain point, you are just statistically playing to lose, right? Which isn't great. That's not what you generally want to do. And you'll see, this is the very next round, round number 4. Again, look at our setup, right? Extremely, like, off-site, full retake A, right? And sure, maybe you have a heavy belief in your A retake. Cool, right? Maybe you don't trust your B hold whatsoever. Cool. But the thing is, when you do this, and MIBR have already shown the capability of, like, walking up here and seeing that nothing is there. And again, you're not doing any one-ways here. You're not, like, you're literally not trying to stop them whatsoever from just walking up here. And that's the thing. It's not like you're being aggressive anywhere else, right? We aren't doing anything else, right? So, yeah, we have a kind of stack towards B. We're hoping that they come in this way, but there's nothing stopping this from happening. And if they do this, most teams, 9 out of 10 teams, of course, are just going to run this way. If not 10 out of 10 teams are just going to, yeah, take the space. Let's go A, right? Let's play for that 5v5 because from the attacker's point of view, right, we're now playing 62-38 in our favor. Great. And the thing is as well, that goes up even more really when you consider that MIBR figured out, well, we don't have to use any util to take this space. So now we've got full kit of util as well. So when you try and get back in onto the site, good luck. Right, like if you got some Valorant simulator to tell you what this map, when this spike goes down, you know, what the win % chance for the attackers is when they've got this much utility left as well, right? When they've got all of this left as well, it would be probably like 80%. Well, I take that. If I'm an attacker, I'm taking that all the time. Whereas Zipto, in a crucial round, round 4 of the game, have essentially just said, well, we're only going to win this round 1 out of 5 times. Well,
no pre-take.
30 seconds
Springboard in.
So
And
low.
look at the damage. Yeah, Alexi could be dead in the water here. That pain shell could be enough for it. Yeah, it absolutely is. Alexi's gone. That's uncomfortable. That could be a lot of util that was invested for that retake then. That could have been big. But now you're looking at the flank. Camu surely going to be noted. Surely there's a trip broken here. But still, 2 flashes. The pain, the nade is there. You're going to have the ult coming down. Oh, the timing. How do you win that? Camu just swings and wins. But MIBR taking a stand on the site itself. The pack of 3 players playing in perfect unison then, and retaking the space towards CT, shuffling towards that side a little, and that's impossible for Shirazi.
And look, it's completely understandable as to why people want to play retake, right? Particularly when you're on the weak side of the map, right? You're on your own, you're somewhat isolated. It makes sense, right? It's understandable. It's completely understandable. However, if you are, you know, and Cypher is probably the agent of choice here right now, you know, to be playing kind of a weak side of a map, you have to have setups that you can trust in, that you can hold the site decently enough. It doesn't have to be the whole site, right? You don't have to stop them at the door, but you have to be able to hold some of the back site, right, to allow, you know, your team to be able to flood in here, help support you, get there in time, and then deal with it from there, and you don't let them take that space, and it's contested and it's muddy and all of that, right? You have to be able to do that, and I know it's difficult to do that, right? It's not easy to do that, especially with, you know, a bunch of neon sliding and stuns and flashes, and, you know, you're gonna get hit by utility most likely, so it's not easy. But when you do play like this, right, you are statistically not helping your team, right? Like, this isn't helping your team that much. But there are some caveats to this as well, and in this round we're going to see some of those caveats, right? One is if you've got ults, right? Ults obviously can somewhat mitigate that, right? Like, yeah, okay, maybe they're going to have a ton of utility, but we've got a KO ult, so they're not going to be able to use any of that utility anyway. That's a big equalizer, right? So those things can, you know, bring that number from 38 probably closer to 50, maybe, you know, above 50 if you've got multiple big ults, right? So that is one thing that, you know, if you do have a lot of big ults, of course you can, you know, maybe feel more confident in playing for that retake. The other thing is, like in this round, is it's not as bad as long as you go kind of aggressive somewhere else on the map, right? Wherever your strong side is, if you're really committing to it, well, okay, you know, we're actually pushing space, right? We're making sure that they can't come this way whatsoever, and ideally, we're trying to catch out any lurk player, right? Because if we can catch out the lurk player, like Zipto are gonna do just here with Melissa, well, now we're playing a 5v4 retake. Right, so now, you know, that kill is giving us 15 to 20%, let's say, you know, in our favor. Well, now the odds are kind of in our favor. So if we are doing this, it's not as bad, right? But as we saw in some of those initial rounds, you know, they weren't doing that, you know, so much. They were essentially just waiting for MIBR to walk up A and play a 5v5. That's not what you want to be doing. But as this round now will show you from this point, if you do have a lot of big ults, if you do, you know, manage to kill the lurk as well by pushing something a bit more aggressively, then those numbers start to play a bit more in your favor, but you can't just sit there and wait for a team to plant the spike on you and expect good things to happen.
I was waiting on. I mean, Camu clean with it. Okay, so now they're sweeping back through middle. They're clearing methodically, but CT is controlled. SRN has taken so much space, but Alexi breaks back in through market. Now they start speeding up here. Zipto want to get a nice grip back into this. It takes a whole lot of ults, but they're happy to burn it. Jelly, the last one alive. Clean stuff from Zipto. That is what they needed.